ice and fern have helped shape the Earth over millions of years. One of Switzerland's most striking glacial landscapes is the Western Gotthard area. In this high mountain region, rivers rise and radiate out to neighboring countries. These rivers are the Rhone, Aare, Reuss, Rhine, Ticino and Inn. A good 2/3 of water from this European heartland flows into the North Sea, with around 1/3 flowing into the Mediterranean. A further 4% empties into the Black Sea. In a perpetual cycle of nature, rain and snow fall on these mountains. Combined with their derivatives, fern and ice, they create the largest water reservoir in the continent. The huge ice mass of 140 large and small glaciers covers around 1,500 square kilometers of the Swiss Alps, or 4% of the land surface. The Aletsch Glacier stretches from the Bernese Alps to Valais, covering 85 square kilometers. It's the biggest glacier in Switzerland. The Morteratsch Glacier in the Bernina region. The Rhone Glacier in Valais. Here the surging Rhone begins its journey. The Gorge Glacier at Monte Rosa. Gradually but with great force, the ice flow pushes down towards the valley. The Gries Glacier in Upper Valais. Its waters collect in the Griersee, a man-made reservoir. Here man has boldly interfered with nature. The Lac de Die has the highest dam in the world. More signs of human intervention here at the Grimsel. At the source of the Aare, 3 man-made reservoirs stretch out: the Retterichsbodensee, the Grimselsee and the Oberarsee. Then there are the natural lakes. Lakes not formed by man, but which have been part of the natural environment, part of Earth's history for thousands of years. Countless mountain lakes of all sizes cover the entire alpine region and are fed by rain and melted snow. These too are part of Switzerland's water reserve. Snowy landscapes of breathtaking beauty. Snow is the biggest water reservoir of them all. Across Switzerland, up to 60 cubic kilometers of water falls annually in the form of snow and rain. Around a third of it seeps away. Another third evaporates. And a third flows out through lakes, streams and rivers. For centuries, man has been trying to harness water. Unrestricted, the element can cause devastation, whether as a flood or in the form of a thundering avalanche. A third of all the water seeps away and either emerges again at the surface as a spring or drains into the groundwater, which also serves an important purpose. In Switzerland, there are around 20 thermal springs. The largest in Leukerbad produces 2,000 litres a minute. Karst springs. The water here flows from crevices and from the ground, as at Saint-Imier in Jura, or the Beatas Caves at Lake Thun. With rock springs, the water gushes out from layers of rock. In Geltenbach, for instance. Waterfalls are another fascinating phenomenon. In Switzerland, there are around 10,000 of them. Mighty thundering cascades plunge down over 14 levels of rock into Lake Brienz. A natural display of elemental force that for centuries has caused humans to gape in wonderment. Melted snow or heavy rainfall can cause mountain streams and gentle babbling brooks to swell to raging rivers. The Rhine Falls at Schaffhausen are an amazing sight. This is the biggest waterfall in Europe. The Vorderrhein Gorge. Immense ruts in the primeval Swiss landscape. washed for millions of years by water from the Earth's crust. A fascinating display of nature. Gorges, always different, always exciting to watch as the water gurgles, roars or rushes through the eroded rock. Switzerland has around 90 reservoirs with a combined surface area of 100 square kilometers and 70 natural lakes with a surface area of 1,300 square kilometers. Bolle di Magadino, a nature protection zone at the delta of the Ticino, and Lake Maggiore in southern Switzerland. And in western Switzerland, the Lake of Geneva, Europe's largest inland water. Water is far more than just a useful substance. It's an aspect of nature. Water, lakes especially, have the power to touch the soul. Water is constantly changing depending on the cycles of nature. But since primeval times, the total volume of water has remained unchanged. It neither increases nor diminishes. Yet the cycle of water varies from continent to continent and land to land. To date, Switzerland has enjoyed a very well-balanced water cycle. Thanks to the ability of the Alps to hold back and conserve water, the extent to which precipitation drains away is the same all year round. But this equilibrium is very fragile. Even the slightest increase in temperature can upset the balance irreversibly. The glaciers melt, the snow level rises, floods become more frequent and heavier. So it's vital that we use fossil fuels responsibly to be able to counter this development. What we do to our water, we ultimately do to ourselves. Lakes. They've been called the eyes of the countryside. Switzerland's lakes are amazingly varied. If lakes are the eyes of the countryside, then rivers are its veins. The Sana, for instance, whose natural course is blocked by a dam. The Gieße, a protected area of outstanding beauty and individuality. The Doubs, the natural border between Switzerland and France, still water in a gentle landscape. Macha and Fesaska in the south of the country are unique, playing imaginative games with color and form. The River Inn. At this point, its waters still flow unchecked. As do those of the Vorderrhein and the Hinterrhein. It's a very different story for the River Ticino at Magadino. Here a dam was built, water was drained away, land was reclaimed. The largest river in Switzerland, the Aare. This stretch has been straightened and dammed. And here the Aare has been allowed to follow its natural course, or has been allowed to revert to its natural course. Man had to alter the natural environment to create places to live. Woods were cleared, land was drained, flood defenses were built, roads too. Then came the start of water power. First mechanical, then for the past 100 years for producing electricity. This need was to shape the cultivation of land. The resulting landscape has its own attractions. It also sustains life. A river landscape. This is where the Reuss and the Limmat flow into the Aare. Over 40% of Switzerland's river water joins up here. Before the Aare joins the Rhine, there is one final dam at the Klingnauer See. Construction of the dam allowed the creation of a bird sanctuary of international significance. Switzerland's rivers join up with the world's oceans. Some of the water is drawn up by the sun, blown across continents to form rain, mist, snow, hoarfrost and ice in ever-repeating cycles. In the beginning, neither word nor deed nor the earth existed, according to the ancient Greeks. In the beginning was water. In the beginning was water, pure water. Let's take care of that precious element, as only clean water can sustain life. Water is life. Water is available. If through our own stupidity we destroy the natural balance that exists, water will cease to be the source of life.